Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to SimSeniors for another round and the penultimate one. This is where things are going to get a little bit more spicy, a little bit more interesting. Now, you know it, you love it. We're at Watkins Glen tonight, and it's going to be quite the scene stealer. Of course, iconic track, at least in my opinion. It is a bit of an iconic track, and certainly one that has got a lot to live up to, considering the championship that it is currently playing host to. First off, looking at the gold class cars, as always, it's Lindblom who leads by 18 points following the last round, following the shock spin around of the results. He's managed second, but that is in stark contrast to Guillemar, his main championship rival, who was in 15th position and dragging him down healthily in the championship order to an 18-point lead. Lindblom is currently the car to beat. Meanwhile, on the silver side of the aisle, Visharek has got an 11-point lead to Robert Homer right now in his Ferrari, and is looking to be a strong competitor as John Mitchell has been put into third position following last race. And then finally, the bronze class as Diekman continues to dominate and extend his lead even further with Barry Finley's absence. His lead potential has grown even larger, and that currently sits at, I do believe that is 39 points. So quite the margin to overcome. So Watkins is going to be one of, I think, the most mechanically challenging tracks for these drivers here. We've had quite an eclectic selection around the calendar, but we do have the bus stop. We've got the outer loop. You've got a lot of verticality, quite sudden inclines and declines, particularly through the S's just coming out of turn 1 and into the back straight. You've got the boot, which is quite a decline, and then followed by a sharp uphill. So as you can see through the flybys right now, you've got quite a lot of different varying angles that these drivers are having to take the track from. But we're about to go pre-race right now, and we're about to go into 20 minutes of qualifying. So let's see what these racers have in store for us as we go track side now. 33 drivers join us tonight. Of course, you know the drill by now, but if you're new here, first off, welcome. Consider liking the stream if you're enjoying what you've got, or alternatively, subscribe if you want to keep on board with Season 10 and a potential Season 11, although that's not for me to say. But also, we have 10 minutes in qualifying. In the first half, that is reserved for bronze and silver drivers with the red and silver driver numbers respectively. And then the white background driver numbers are our gold class, which will only go in the final 10 minutes. So let's see who's leading the charge. It's going to be none other than Craig Nisbet. Currently seeing what he can get out of that Mercedes AMG, as he's going to be slap bang in the middle of the championship. Currently 10th position in silver, and first car to adorn the track for a full out lap. Let's see what he's got in the tank as he heads through into the first corner. Now the key thing here with Watkins, preserve your speed. Keep the car smooth. Don't push the brake too much. Sometimes just letting go of the accelerator will do a lot more of the work than you might think. Making his way out of the S's now, pushing himself into 6th gear all the way up to 265 before jumping on those brakes and quickly navigating his way through the bus stop. Little bit of braking down to 3rd gear, but powers out in 4th. Smooth running through the first sector and into sector 2 as he starts to make his way down through the chute. A quick sweeping left-hander here, easy to lose the rear, especially as the angle starts to reduce to 0. And you quickly swept right back up again. So, going to be a quick incline back up again through the boot into the heel. Downhill once again. You have a lot of up and down. It's almost like a set of rolling hills displaced over a racetrack, this course. Just as soon as you've finished with an incline, you go to a decline and vice versa. So quickly making his way out. You can see where the rest of the track connects as well. You can see the straight shot if you want to take the short course here at Watkins. But making his way through the final couple of corners. You can see the pit line as well on the inside. Driver's got to be careful of that apex here, but what's it going to be? First car on the boards, it's going to be Nisbet. A 46.4 is our initial benchmark. So let's see if that's going to stack up and how these racers are faring. We're seeing a couple of bronze cars. David Smith is going to be our fastest bronze as more of the silvers now make their way through. It's going to be Peter Smith coming to join him. David and Peter, of course, the dynamic duo in the bronzes, certainly have a lot of potential here to do well. And the Smiths are 1 and 2. Peter's going to be jumping by half a second on the other McLaren to lead bronze. And then Visharek, current championship leader, is going to continue his form, dominate sector 2 and 3 in his Ferrari to currently hold on to top position. The crazy thing is he's got 13 points in penalties, so he could potentially have a 24-point lead if he kept it clean. Curious how the gold drivers are going to handle their additional ballast. So Liam Blom is going to be hit with 10 or 25 kilograms of additional ballast. Gayamar's got 15, Wolfslener with 10. Performance-based ballast just to improve and streamline the competition. But we've seen the first set of runs already taking place. We've got Colomb, Tennant, Holson and Diekman yet to complete a full lap, but everyone else on the course has managed to do so. And good timing too, because time is of the essence. You're looking at a mid-45 if you want to get yourself in a good run in this cohort. Bronzes, you are looking a little bit thinner on the ground, but generally they seem to be aiming for the 46s, low 47s. Anything you can do to push up on that, but here comes Wilson here. He's going to be teetering on the edge of glory, and he's got it! 0.77. That's going to pip Visharek by a crucial couple of hundredths. That's all he needed. That's the ticket right there. Is anyone going to challenge that top spot? Let's find out. Here comes Randy Zimmer. He's about half a second up on his delta. Let's see if he can make it happen through Sector 3. Visharek, of course, has got some work to do. Visuri is going to come through in 4th position in his Porsche. So eyes on Zimmer, see if he can extract more time. The current is looking like he'll just be able to get into the 45s, which will be enough to put him around P7. Diekman has gone through and completely punched above his weight, though. He's displaced Morrison and Zimmer from the rest of the pack. So Zimmer's managed to make his way all the way up to P5, though. 45.5 on the dot. That is quite a solid time indeed. So eyes on the rest of the field, as many have just come across the line and starting potentially their penultimate or final runs. Remember, at the 10-minute mark, it is considered your qualifying session over, but you do not need to leave the track immediately. You also have the opportunity to finish your lap if you are currently on a hot one. So that's a little bit of a mulligan the drivers are afforded. And we will see if anyone is able to capitalise. Looks like Chris Wilson might be on track to potentially get into the 144s. But let's see if Nisbet's going to get an improvement. We've been on board with him for a little bit now. You can see Wilson just in the back line. Nisbet, no improvement. How is Wilson going to do? He's going to get 44. Despite being down in Sector 1 and 2, he smashes Sector 3 out of the park to gain the time back. Beautiful driving. Absolutely beautiful driving by the Aston Martin right there. Let's see if anyone else is coming through. Here's Craig Morrison in the McLaren. Trying to break past that 10 mark. He comes across, it's a .192. It's just not enough to get past Diekman and reunite with the rest of the Silvers. Here's Dismakes here. Making his way up out of the boot. Just coming out of heel. Last few corners now. Needs to get a good Sector 3 if he wants to get an improvement. He needs 2/10 to beat David Smith into the 3rd place. Needs 2/10 exactly. See Wilson continuing to try and push the boat out. He's still flashing purple. He's made about a 10th up in Sector 1. Sector 2 might be same boat and the same story. So let's see how the rest of the field is doing. Here's Paul Murray. Making his way down into tow now. Colomb just coming up to the line. Minor time improvement, but unfortunately nothing to gain in position. Tennant's come across the line with 47.682. That's enough for 16th position. So Anil Thirdson just coming up to the line now, and looks like actually, I think we've lost Thirdson. Actually, no, I stand corrected. Took a second for the timing board to update. He is in 12th position, also known as third in class. Great stuff there. Here comes Robert Homer just up to the line now as we've been on board with Paul Murray, and Homer goes a 44.5. As Wilson pushed it down to a 0.7, the Porsche has gone one step further. Paul Murray comes across and he's in 4th position with a 45.2 and 45.6 for John Mitchell. So it's the last chances for many of the drivers. It looks like the Porsches are having a field day out there. It's Homer in 1st, Vissuri in 3rd. Both of them are really having a good time here at the Glen. So, final 20 seconds. If you're not on a lap now, then you are going to have to get out of the way and fast. And you can see the squabble that is the first jump for qualifying start. You can see everyone lining up, waiting to go, waiting for that green light. 3, 2, 1, and right away, Lenatus is on it. He's notorious for getting the first jump out in qualifying, and tonight is no different. He's back, he's in top form, and he's out first from the gold class runners. He's wasting 0 chances. He knows that there's 2 rounds left. He's got to make them count. You're going to see him closely followed by one of the Mustangs in Wolfpack, and then Lindblom is going to be in his classic NSX. So that's going to be Guillemard in 2nd place, splitting the two. Guillemard has got quite the weight on his shoulders. He's got 18 points that he needs to make up to Lindblom between now and the end of the championship. And that's going to mean he basically needs to get a points difference of about 8 just to be within contention of the title next time. Considering the performance of these drivers, anything that he can secure is going to be crucial. So even just a position of 1st and 5th, if Guillemard gets 1st and Lindblom gets 5th, that will be enough points to bring him back into the race. That is a 15-point difference, and that will be just enough to pull him back into this championship. So you can see as the bronze and silver cars have now all returned to the pits for the most part. Just finishing runs from Peter, Zimmer, and Visharek here. Visharek is going to be pipping in the last moments of qualifying a couple of hundredths of a second. 44.497 to beat. But let's see what the rest of the track has in store. As Lenatus now is going to come through and is going to start his run here. This is gold time. Let's see what he has. Making his way quickly through the first corner, and you can see how the gold cars, as well as the others, were really maximizing the track space, going right to the edge of the curbs. Qualifying is law. Qualifying is the big separator here for a lot of drivers. Having a good starting position is going to serve you very well into the race, especially considering that we have got a lot of the drivers riding on this championship. Okay, good to see everyone out as always in the chat, bringing their best, bringing their A game. And as always, we've got some of the drivers who are joining us in chat as well. Always lovely to see you get that little extra insight too. But let's see how the rest of the field is coming along as Lenatus is about to finish his main lap. Now remember, 44.4 was the fastest time from Silver. So we could potentially expect a 43 coming out of the golds. Let's see, 44.7 coming from Lenatus. Let's see how the rest of the track fares. 43.8 from Gayamar. I'm going to sound like an auctioneer in a minute, but we're committed at this point. Björklund comes through with a .885, 43.8. That is 2 cars who makes it past the threshold. Make that 3. Matthias Holmberg just coming through in another Mustang on this track. And more making their way as we speak. 44.2 coming in from Wolfslener in 4th place overall. As Cutler's down over 44.9. Serrano 45.2 and 45.4. Coming for the rest of the field and below. Dave Marsh, Patrick Larson. My tools are struggling to keep up with what's going on. Colin McNair comes for 44.7. 3 cars into the Magic 3s, but no drivers yet to get past that first quali shake. Now we've still got time here. 44.6 coming in from Bourne. We've still got a lot of time for the drivers to push further, push harder. Holmberg is already on said push, as he's currently 0.2 of a second up, and he's flashing purple. Sold to the Mustang in green. Or yellow. I promise I am not colorblind. Holmberg cresting his way over the boot and into heel now. Taking a nice wide arc through the corner, preserve as much speed as possible, but he still keeps it high in second gear. Still keeps it relatively high. 0.4 of a second up, but a tiny bit of dirt. That's going to be his undoing. He's lost a good amount of his advantage. So that is going to be open season for Gayamar as he comes across the line. It's a 43.6 now, and he's going to push that boundary even wider. Sector 1 is his playground. Sector 2 and 3, we'll see if he can pull more time out of there as well. We could see a sub 0.5 as we reach into the low 43s. Many of the gold class cars as well now having a chance to improve their times following in their initial shakedown, but they've only got about 3 chances left. So time is of the essence here. Mini gold cars coming through. Damien Reed into 7th position, just 7 milliseconds behind Robert Homer, who is second in the silvers. There's a 44.3 coming from Colin McNair, so pushing that boundary even harder. Session is young in terms of the racing, but one thing's for sure, the adrenaline is already pumping and the drivers are forever cranked up to 11. See, even now, Damien Reed on his lap following new record. He's not afraid to push that car to his limits. The Lexus is a little bit tougher to handle. It is an older spec machine. It's not quite part of that new age collection that the likes of the 296 and M4 reside, but balance of performance does still keep it in line and does still make it just as potent of a competitor. Takes a certain finesse to handle in the right way. Certainly a handful, to say the least. So with that, more improvements on the horizon. Dave Marsh making his way out of the heel and into the final few corners of the track. Remember, 43.6 is the fastest time, courtesy of Gayamar. Wolfslener just comes through with a 43.7, making it another Mustang lockout, potentially, because it looks like those top rows are dominated by Wolfpack cars. Crazy thing in all of this is, where is a certain Lindblom? I'm not sure what's going on with this NSX right now, but he hasn't posted a time. Is he leaving it to the end? Is he leaving it to chance? Or is there something more going on here? Let's see if this time will be considered valid, as currently my telemetry tools aren't spitting out any information for him. So, up to the line. Will there be something here? Nope, it's a 44.2 last lap, but it's not being counted as valid. Time to find out if the rest of the field can keep that momentum high, as Wolfslener is certainly seeking the timeout. As mentioned, drivers are going to have to keep their wits about them, as turn 11 in particular is a bit of a biter with how much this track undulates and curves and cambers. You have to be fully focused at near all times. You can see Wolfslander coming up to the line now. He's on purple. He's running purple. He's really pushing the edges of those track limits. Slight time scrubbing in the final corners, but is it enough to push through and get the top time? It is by 1/4 of a tenth. It's just enough. 0.650. Wolfslander is new pole position as we just have more cars coming through and taking a swing. Chris Bourne up into 5th place, just displacing Colin McNair out of the top 5. More chances to improve as well for the rest of the field. Here's Pedro Serrano, half a second up. Just needs to connect it up, bring it home. Chris Bourne's going to get an improvement of his own as well in 6th position, but that's going to be outdone as Colin McNair gets into the 43s. Here's Serrano, 44.2. But last chances, final 30 seconds from the qualifiers. So that means if you're in the pits at this point, your session is done. Marsh, Reed, Holmberg, all considered out of the session now as they have returned to the pit lane. And no doubt we'll see some other drivers follow them soon as they abandon runs. There's Lenatus, he's conking out as well. I think McNair is about to be doing the same. We see the yellow flag, and yes, indeed. 2, 1, and time. So this is make or break. Any improvements, race now or forever hold your peace. See, Liam Blom, best that he could manage out of qualifying as a 7th, unless he pulls some heroics in this final sectors here. So we can see Björklund making a improvement on his time, but no improvement on position. 3rd place is where he will stay. See Gayamar coming up to the line, retiring to the pit lane. He's abandoned this run. He would not commit and continue. Let's see if Liam Blom's got anything left in the tank. Of course, championship protagonist right now. And looking like he's going to have to bring his best if he wants to remain in front. 18 points does sound like a lot. But when you consider the drop round mechanic and you consider the points difference between even just 1st and 3rd or 4th, that can quickly be an advantage that diminishes. Coming through to the line now. He's slightly up. Pedro Serrano just coming up to the line himself, but no improvement on his time. So Liam Blom, last car on track. Will there be any improvement from the NSX? He's going to bump the wall and take minor contact damage, negating most, if all of his advantage. He only scrubs a couple of hundredths of a second, but that is time, ladies and gentlemen. So it looks like it's a Mustang lockout, with Wolfslander taking top honours, 43.650, just closely followed behind by Gayamar in 2nd, and Nicholas Björklund with a 43.807. Mustang looks like the car to be here at Watkins. So that's your top 3 for qualifying for the golds. In the silvers, it's going to be Vischerek continuing his top form and just barely displacing Robert Homer in the Porsche 911. Slowly coming up in 3rd, but no, not slow by any means. 44.7. It's going to be Chris Wilson. Those two above him just really brought their A game to qualifying. But we know Wilson is quite the combatant as well, so I would say that definitely watch out for this one as well. Finally, in a twist of fate, we thought it wasn't going to set a time, but Thjörtsen Anil is going to be our top runner here in bronze, closely followed by Ibrahim Diekman. And then in 3rd place, it's going to be Andy Trickett. Looks like Porsche is another very strong pick out here in Watkins, as we did see some early dominance from the silvers in the Porsches as well. So they are definitely cars to watch. Mustangs, Porsches look to be quite potent, and it looks like it will be a bit of a challenge for those who have picked differently. For example, we know the Lexus is a bit of a struggle. We know that the NSX is very hit or miss, despite being piloted by one of the best drivers in the series. Judging by his track record here with the NSX, it looks to be a bit more of a Marmite car in terms of this season's BOP. Looking at the rest of the field, we're seeing less Ferraris than we used to. We're seeing a few more Astons, but enough of that jibber jabber, because it's time to talk races. And it's only custom that we give it our full grid walk treatment. So let's take it from the top. Of course, we've already introduced them, but the first row, it's the two Wolfpack cars of Peter Wolfslener and Frederick Gaimar in the 196 and 208 Mustangs, respectively. Row 2 is going to go to Björklund in third place, alongside Colin McNair in the number 13 Nissan Nismo. The Iron Brew livery really sells it. You know it's Colin, and you know he can put up a fight. Holmberg and Liam Blom are going to be 5th and 6th place in row 3 in the Mustang and the Honda NSX. And finally, it's going to be row 4. This one is for Chris Bourne in the 118 Mustang and Pedro Serrano in the 212 BMW with that very nice chrome purple paint. Finally completing your top 10, it's going to be Dave Marsh in the number 27 Honda NSX and Radoslav Vishrek, leader of silver qualifying in the number 4 Ferrari. Row 6 is going to go to Robert Homer, closely following behind, and then it's Damien Reed, the sole Lexus of the field, going to be taking 12th spot in the number 979. Patrick Larson is going to be row 7. The number 230 Mustang lines up alongside the sole Audi of the grid in Thomas Linatus. The number 12, the quali jump starter himself. Well, quick starter. It wouldn't be fair to say jump starter. He just nails it on the money. Chris Wilson, the number 49 Vantage, alongside the Mercedes AMG of Justin Cutler, ex-Aston driver. So I wonder if there's any blood there. Edo Vasuri in the 992 Porsche. Stuck with it since the dawn of the seasons itself. And then Paul Murray in the number 90 McLaren. Completing your top 20, it's going to be Randy Zimmer in the 141 Ferrari, and then John Mitchell in the number 24 Porsche. Both of them have got their own seasons and races to prove out here tonight. 21st is going to go to Craig Niesbet in the 331 AMG, and then the 213 McLaren goes to Craig Morrison. 23rd and 24th, it's going to be Aniel Therdsen in the Porsche and Ibrahim Dickman also in the Porsche, but in the number 19 Shrim. So the two of them impressing well, as Trickett is 25th just behind, along with Diesbuquets, another row of 992 cars. Now as the final cars set off for their formation lap, just to check in with the rest of them, it's Peter Smith alongside David Smith, the Smiths united front as they both come through. And in the 113 and 199, Stuart Holmes in the BMW M4. That's going to be alongside Frank Tennant in the number 95, even though he's 44. Don't question it. Last but not least, for sure, it's Colom in the 773 McLaren. Alex North, who could have certainly... We're used to seeing a little bit higher up, so maybe it's just not his day in the Vantage. And then Helge Olsen in the 949 Lamborghini. I believe that's the sole Lamborghini of the grid as well, so interesting one there. We used to see in prior seasons the Lamborghini really was quite the potent car, but looks like that is set to be a changing. We are now everyone lining up on track, getting the optimal heat into their tyres and getting themselves ready to go racing. I'd say keep an eye out for the bus stop, maybe even turn 2 as you just come out of the 90-degree right-hander. Certainly be careful of the cars around you. There will be chaos, and bus stop is one area of the track that proves to be merciless in its domination of races. For those who haven't been here before, for those who are new, it's an hour's race, a mandatory pit stop for fuel, but tyres are an optional choice. Most drivers tend to go around the 30-minute mark, plus or minus 5 minutes, and so that is one of the key strategic elements to jumpstart on your rivals. A little bit of chaos sometimes towards the beginning of the race, but it's looking lovely out here at Watkins. It's a 26-degree ambient with a 33-degree surface temp. So tyres are going to be nice and sticky. We've not got any crosswinds, so they're going to have some stable and fun racing here today. Everyone's lining up as they crest over the boot and into heel. The big question is who could potentially lock out their championship tonight? I'm looking at the likes of Diekman. He's done well in his qualifying, but he's currently second place to Therdsen, who is 6th in the championship. If Diekman gets a solid finish here, he could stand to be the season champion. Dismukes is his only main rival because Finley is missing once again. So Finley is going to be one of the cars that was posing a threat in the second half of the season, who found major form, but seemingly dropped off again. So right now it's Diekman's championship to lose, it's Bisharek's championship to win, and it's Lindblom's championship to defend. So who's going to come out on top? Lindblom's on the back foot in 6th, so he's going to have to make some major plays, or hope that the hand of the racing gods can smile upon him this evening. It's the penultimate round of Season 10. The Tuesday nights are back. And with that being said, the track is hot for a lovely night of racing. 1 hour on the clock. The green flag is about to drop any second now as they just come up to the start line. Here we go. Green flag racing, track is hot where we are, and immediately it's going to be a sudden attack coming through as Colin's going to get a major run through. Björklund's on the inside as there's going to be doubles. It looks like chaos and bowling though at the back of the field as there's going to be a big mix-up. Looks like Robert Homer is stranded off the side of the track. Something has gone on immediately. Chaos has erupted. It looks like Serrano went across the inside or something, or at least was going straight on. Trying to find out exactly what that is. We'll review that in a minute. Coming up to the bus stop though, you see a little bit of squabbling. That's going to be between Reed and Larson as they both fight for spots. There's going to be Reed across the grass and major combat as that's going to be Lenata squeezing his way through just up ahead into the Audi and out on the peripheral. Paul Murray's trying to trail alongside Chris Wilson, just keep himself out of trouble, but even looking further beyond, here comes Damien Reed being on the defensive, but trying his best. It's not working out, as that's Chris Bourne immediately sweeping him on the outer edge, despite having visible damage to his car. Both of them heading through tow side by side. Chris Wilson is going to be coming up soon as well for a potential challenge, but up to the front too, there's going to be the two Mustangs. Combat in locked horns as they go through this first lap together. They're both trying to size each other up as McNair is also itching to join in. Liam Blom's made a position up as Holmberg has conceded, and it looks like he's going for another one here down the inside through the penultimate corner. Great run from the NSX. Oh, looks like chaos has erupted. Chaos has erupted indeed. Just getting a word from the race control team. Dismukes, Thurston, Holmes, all involved in a major incident. Is Mitchell and Vasuri as well. Evasive action having to come through for Trickett there, barely holding it together. You see he slid and scrubbed a huge amount of speed. See Guillemot and Wolfslener continuing to lock horns. In a minute we'll review exactly what happened at the start of this race, as well as do a bit of an incident catch-up. But for now, let's keep an eye. Guillemot sizes up into the bus stop, pokes the nose in, trying to take it narrow, just not enough room. He can't get the dominance of the apex, and with that, he's squeezed out of the fight. You know, let's take a little bit of a rewind here. So, onto the helicopter, we can see, or at least actually, let's try the TV cam. So, ever being a forward face, this is going to be the perspective from Paul Murray, and you can see there's contact by looks like Poma and Linata sporting him wide, and just like that, that is multiple cars getting punted off. That is Bisharek just in the back line too. Chaos quick to erupt here on this circuit. And then we have another one here. So just coming immediately off of that is Damien Reed. Of course, he had his incident heading into the bus stop chicane. Let's try and see exactly what happened there. See, jumping aboard with this cam. See, he's making bumps, major contact with the number 230 car of Larson. So switching across alongside, and then just like that, eventually was squeezed out off into the grass. Back to the front side of things. Lindblom has made his way up to 4th. He's just posted the fastest lap with a 44.8. And right now, it looks like... Oh, saying that though, Lindblom has just gone off the side of the track. Let's quickly rewind that immediately, as this could put him on the back foot. So, chasing through. He managed to get the run previously on Björklund. He was coming up to the back to try and chase down the likes of McNair. But not sure exactly what happened. So this is an instant replay and he's just, yep, fully outbraked himself there. He's spun and into the tyre wall. I think that was just an unforced error there. There's no other way to slice it. Purely a mistake from the racer. I think the pressure of the championship and having such potent competition might be starting to get to him here. Either way, he's fallen upon hard times. Not only is he down in P13, but he's also going to have to consider if he's losing time to constitute a pit stop early. He might have to compromise his strategy in service of getting his car back to running order. So looking like time is not going to be on his side here, because 5 minutes into the race he's already going to be suffering from major damage. Especially with that tyre wall bump on the rear, he's going to have a lot of issues with car stability. So he's currently tucked in behind Paul Murray here. Question is, will he pit in? No, he's going to remain committed out there, despite many others choosing a different path. There's Chris Bourne into the pits very early on in this race, as we do have a couple of other pit stoppers. It's Homer, Niesbet and Smith out there, and Lindblom still going for it. That's going to be an attack on Paul Murray. Successfully takes P11. Nicely done between the two. Interestingly, Wolfslener is posting a really good run here, as Gayamar has dropped a bit of time by the looks of things. Wolfslener is on a roll. He's 2 seconds up. Bishrick and Diekman fighting each other coming into the bus stop here. Remember, this is 2 different classes, 2 different drivers, making each other's lives a little bit more interesting. Diekman is going to sacrifice a good chunk of time, though, as he goes up into the bus stop. It's being tested. That is for sure. He's definitely being tested. Diekman, his conviction is under the microscope here. All he needs to really do is he needs to beat Dismakes by at least 3 positions, and he, theoretically, if my numbers are right, he would lock out this championship. Ending drop round resequencing. Here's Lindblom going for an attack and getting it done round through heel, and just powering away into the sunset, coming out into that final sector. Björklund has managed to gain some time, meanwhile, on Colin. Blue flag's already coming out. I think that's for one of the Smiths. Just taking a moment of observation here as Wilson Murray running close together. Justin Cutler, he's one that needs to reunite with the rest of the pack. So Wilson and Murray are currently obstacles to these two in their progression through the field. Oh, I think I've made a bit of a womble there. I think I have royally made a bit of a womble there. Do apologise. Okay, so let's have a bit of a recap. We had a bit of a chaotic opener in the first half of the session. And we have actually had a stop-and-go penalty for Robert Homer, which he's had to clear. So that would be for the number 6 car to add a bit of insult to injury, so he's now going to be down quite substantially. Cutler is going to be chasing down Pedro Serrano right now. These two have formed a little bit of a micro battle in their own right. Here comes Björklund on McNair here. Briefly trying it on, or at least trying to put and emphasize a little bit of pressure. Trying to emphasize just the tiniest bit of pressure on McNair. See if he cracks. That's going to be his own prerogative here. As there's 2 seconds currently between Guillemard and McNair. Will he be able to push forward? Meanwhile, checking in with Leonblom right now. He's currently P10. He's managed to recover a good amount of time. He's managed to peel things back quite substantially. He has got an uphill battle still to contend with. Got 3 seconds between himself and Reed, but he's not going to be out of this fight. Not by a long shot. I think he's still got plenty of fight left in him, even if he may be suffering with a little bit of a wayward tail. Seems to be handling it very well. Björklund continues to try and put pressure on Colin right now. He can see a little bit of opportunity as both of them chase down and complete their 6th lap of the course. Hot on the brakes, just looking for any chance he can get, even trying to power out a little bit further. Both of them going wide with the 90 degree. And then into turn 2 now. Making their way up the hill. And got a lot of work to do. There is a lot of work indeed that needs to be done between these two. As this is the difficult part of racing. You have 2 cars. You have them fighting amongst each other. And that may all be well and good, but the problem here is that right now, these two are going to squabble. And, ooh, going for a bit of a drift is McNair. Points for style, but he's lost half a second. This is my point. He's on the defense. He's trying to fight with Björklund. But the two of them are conceding time further and further, as the racers are going to be inevitably slowing each other down. It's going to be half a second between Wolfslener and Guillemard, but by comparison, McNair's teetering on the 2 to 3 second line. And that's not even to say the current situation for some of the other racers on this grid who have much larger gaps. So we'll see, of course, how things shake up and shape up. As looking further down, Lenatus is under pressure. Damien Reed certainly putting his combat boots on. As they go through the final corner, this Lexus driver means business. He is not taking any nonsense. These past few races, I've got to say, it's been a really nice journey to see from Reed. He has found his form, come into his own, and really start to get the elbows out. Certainly got his fighting shoes on, his combat boots on, like we said, as he's going to go side by side with Lenatus. I'm clenching all the way as he's gone through the bus stop. You don't do that here at Watkins, but he's done it. Reed into P8. Lenatus having to concede. Just the fight, the positioning, all of it. Beautiful. Beautiful run. Beautiful stuff there. And no different further down the order is Serrano, Cutler, Murray, all getting very close to each other, really trying to see who's going to crack under the pressure first. Serrano's trying his best to get to the back of that McLaren as the AMG looms in the rearview mirror. Hey, Reed though, that move into P8, extremely risky. I think there was equal parts attack and equal parts concede there. Because you don't really make a move work at the bus stop. So if you have the daring do to try it on, sometimes drivers will concede the position just out of survival. But therein lies opportunity. Hard but fair racing. That's the linchpin of the sport. You race hard, you race fair. And sometimes you take risks. Sometimes they work out, sometimes they don't. But more than anything, you dare to try. So Cyrano is going to be still stuck in that middle, but he's much closer to Murray now. Is he going to try it into the bus stop? He looks at it. He eyes up the plate. He looks at the crumbs under the edge of the seat, but he's ultimately not going for it. He's not going to go for it. Not yet, anyway. I think wise move to hold back at least for now. Wait till there's a better opportunity. Right back up the front then. Gayamar and Wolfslener continue to run close. 15 minutes into the session. And our leaders have stayed fairly static, albeit gaining more time to the rest of the racers around them. McNair and Björklund are doing the same to a lesser degree on Holmberg. But right now, these two, they are driving each other forward. So he's pushing himself and pushing his rival all the way through here. Lindblom has had to make the call to jump into the pit there. And is going to be closing in. As hopefully he doesn't lose too much time. You can see the rest of the field passing him by as he goes all the way through the pit lane. Is that for a penalty, or is that just his pit box being really late? No, his pit box is right at the end of the lane. I think fitting, considering he was the previous season champion. But now I think he's made the judgment call to go for that early stop, try to undercut the competition. He's going to be giving it his all. See exactly what's going on here. We have a couple of yellow flags being reported. Niesbet running a little bit slow. We've also had a couple of cars that have had some issues, and we want to take a bit of a recap as to what happened. Linatus all the way down in P13, so let's see exactly what happened there. He was on the back of Damian Reed, but he suffered a massive drop. Let's crank those clocks back. You can see going through the bus stop, he hops, he skips, he jumps those curbs, but getting completely kicked on the rear axle and slams out of the exit into the outer loop. Luckily, he's able to keep the car together, but he's going to have to concede that one into the pits too. Brutal contact with the wall there. Unfortunately, he dodged those tyres, which would have mitigated a good chunk of that damage. So he's not going to be blessed with the luck of the others, and is unfortunately going to be conceding out, at least for this race. He's going to be out of that top 10 for sure. So with Linatus in the pit, he's going to be out of running for a good while. Lindblom is out in P28 right now. We'll have to see how things shake up for him there. So just taking a bit of a moment to observe as he's trying to make up time here. Back to the front as well. As ironically, this has almost visually put him ahead, although he's an entire lap down. It almost feels a little bit backwards. It feels almost sacrilegious to say that Lindblom is an entire lap down at this point in time. Both of them just biding their time. I think this is interesting here. Niesbet is actually off the side of the track, which is an oddity. So hopefully gets a quick rejoin. To say, I'm wondering if these two are going to make a move anytime soon. Who's going to pull the trigger on the attack? We are 20 minutes in and coming up to that crucial pit window. Remember, within that middle 10 minutes is when the drivers are usually scoping out what they plan to do with the rest of the race. Whether that is go for an attack, bide their time till the end and get them on resources, or what's going on. Two Mustangs all but evenly matched. Even their best times are within half a second of each other. Or half a tenth of a second, I should say. There we go, much more substantial. Björklund is still on the chase throughout all of this. I wonder if he's going to have a chance, if he's going to be taking a bite of the cherry into the bus stop. He briefly looks, but then he tucks straight back in. I think he knows that he's a little bit too far back to exercise that move. At least for now, he's going to set the pace for himself. Zimmer is off the side of the track, and he's going very slow on the racing line. I think he may have had a slide that he had to catch on the exit. See, here's Randy Zimmer alongside John Mitchell. Both of them going to be pushing into the bus stop. The Porsche dips out. The Ferrari goes all the way through and holds on to that P14. It's going to be Guillemard continuing his chase as Wolfslener is going to be pushing as much as he can. You can see he's sliding his way through that one there, and then through the penultimate corner. He's trying to keep that car stable, but you're noticing that he's on the edges of grip. He really is feeling it right now. Do not envy his position at all. He's still hunting ever so slowly, gaining more and more time. Dave Marsh into the pits. Guillemard could be sniffing out for it. He could be going for it. He peeks to the left. Is there going to be a shot at the position? He's considering it, but he dips back. He had such a close run. I think he's just building the pressure. He's trying to get under his opponent's skin, make him almost panic. Rough innings for him there, but Guillemard remains resolute. He's not going to be stopped. He's hunting for those spots anytime he can get them. Not sure what the weird artifacting is. I think that is just an effect of the game engine, but a random artifacting and almost like a ghosting effect. Apologies if anyone is getting bothered by that. Gamer still closing in, but he's not pulling the trigger on an overtake. I think after a certain point, it's not going to be conducive to any long-term gains. I think he's almost holding himself back a little bit here by being this passive. But at the very least not committing to move, but saying that could all change. It looks like he's got a good run here. He's going to peek the corner once again. He brakes ever so slightly earlier. And he's even closer than he was last time, but still no dice. Larson heading into the pits. Patrick Larson. Don't think we have Johan on the track today. A couple more drivers going to head into the pits. I say Randy Zimmer. There's Diekman. Wait, Diekman is completely sideways on the track. What happened to him there? We're going to have to rewind the clocks back on this one, folks. It might seal the deal for him in terms of locking out the championship tonight. Oh, you can see just a little bit of a slide. He goes to the inside and just completely fishtails the car. Patrick Larson making his way out of the pits as Colom and Zimmer are still in. Yeah, I think it's sealed things here. Yep, and here he was, thinking that he'd be able to wrap it up nice and tight, put her in a little handbag and sweep it off to the championship podium. Unfortunately, not tonight. It looks like, by all counts, if he's going to have this sort of hiccup in his confidence, he might not get the points differential he needs to get that championship title. Good to see Björklund heading into the pits alongside Paul Murray, Justin Cutler. And taking things in for that stop, that necessary choice. You can see here's Damien Reed still on the attack. He's going to be making a quick run past Zimmer there. Of course, he's going to be slightly lower in terms of laps, and therefore it's going to concede under the blue. But he makes a nice run through here. I'll say I love this Lexus. It really does have a nice livery. I saw the yellow bits on the side and I thought they were like the arms of a squid, I'm going to be honest, but once I actually looked at the rest of the livery, then could truly appreciate it. And appreciate all of the different liveries that we have on this track. There's so many different visual designs. I absolutely love it. It really is a big part of what makes these races so interesting, is the fact that I'll be able to look at a car and I'll be able to immediately say, oh yeah, that's Gamer. And he's part of the Wolfpack team because of the design. It just sockets in perfectly to the race weekend, and it just makes that experience that much better. It's like that feeling when you get half of a crossword right within like the first 2 minutes. And it just feels satisfying. It just feels right. This is no difference. I say everyone sort of slots in perfectly. Really, like I said, sort of sockets into the race weekend and makes that experience even better. Here's Diekman coming out of the pits now. Hopefully recovering his race as best as he can. It's going to certainly be under a good amount of pressure. But I think the biggest priority for him right now is just to bring consistent points in. He'll still have a points lead with a good finish, or at least being able to jump ahead of Dismukes. That's his main rival right now, because David Smith, although a solid driver, is still going to be over 11 points further away. Frank Tennant into the pit now. Zairo and Chris Wilson are going to be doing the same, and that leaves just 10 drivers, I do believe, who have yet to pit in now. So final 10 as we come up to the half-hour mark. Question is, are the leaders going to be making that choice, or are they going to try and stretch their strategy out a little bit further? There's going to be Wolfslener and Gayamar remaining out. All the other drivers follow suit. Is Dave Marsh going to be able to get the overtake done on Craig Morrison? So Morrison is on his first stint and Marsh is on his second. Is he going to go for the overtake here, or is he going to bide his time till he inevitably comes in? Let's see here, he's going to get a nice sweep through the toe. Nicely done here from Marsh, and Morrison is going to drop a bit back, but I think that that was expected considering the different sets of conditions that these racers are running on. Well, you can see a little bit of a wobble there as that was Patrick Larson just coming out and into the penultimate corner, but not without a brief brush in the grass and a fun little swing. North making his way into the pits. Now Craig Morrison has just jumped in also. Vishrek is going to be soon making his way out. On average, you're looking at about 60-second pit stop end to end. And that is going to constitute about 30 seconds of lead time and a 30-second pit stop ideally. Any kind of damage, you'll be looking at another 20 added onto that, which could be a race ender depending on who you ask. For example, Niesbet is going to be just remaining in the pits indefinitely by the looks of things, and he is going to effectively be considered retired from the race. Holmberg's going to be jumping into the pit now, meaning that he's one of the last few to do so. We only have 5 drivers remaining in that cohort yet to pit out. There will be a chance here, a crucial chance with the crossover for the field to gain some positions. Undercuts, overcuts, all fair game here. And where it's only by a couple of minutes, at best, the opportunities can still be very wide. A lot of racers who certainly are in it to win it. And see Björklund getting a quick freebie as Damien Reed's going to be coming out of the pits. Dave Marsh is also going to be coming out in just a moment. But here are the leaders. Gayamar, Wolfslener, tailing each other to the very bitter end. And it looks like the first one jumping in is going to be Wolfslener. Gayamar is going to take a risk, and he's going to run it for an extra lap minimum. He's taking the lead of the race. McNair is going to be following suit, as it's just those two, and then John Mitchell, who in characteristic fashion has run it very deep into the first stint. Run it very deep into that first stint, but he's got a bit of an opportunity here. That overcut might have served him well. This is Vishrek and Vissuri duking it out. This is for P3 in the standings right now. as Chris Wilson is the leader of the group. John Mitchell, I think, heading into the pits. That just leaves McNair and Gayamar now. So a big old asterisk, as there tends to be on the leads of these races. When you have the pit stops, who's going to undercut the other? Will there be an under or an over? Is there anyone who is going to have a chance? So Hero was, to say, challenging alongside Visharek, but it's not materialized here, at least not yet. Here comes Gayamar. Is he jumping? Yes, he's jumping into the pits. That overcut only going to extend to a single lap. So 5 minutes after the midpoint of the race, and everyone has officially taken their pit stops at this point in time. Robert Homer, after an extended pit stop and making it his third pit stop of the evening, has emerged out of the lane in 32nd place. So here's the other issue. Wolfslener has been overtaken, and Björklund is the one to thank for that. Björklund has managed to jump him in the second half and has done quite the feat of strategic mastery, knowing that you can still swing it back on pit timings if you know what you're doing. And he clearly got himself into a nice spot. So now, question is, can Gayamar beat these two out, or is he going to be in some serious hot water? Here comes Björklund to the start-finish line. He's just going to cross over. Here's McNair, going to be shortly following. Will there be enough time? He's going to jump Gayamar, but he can't jump Björklund. It's going to be tense between the two once again, but now they have a new challenger, as the orange Mustang is going to lead these two by a whole second. And the tails have been... well, the tables, I should say, not the tails. It has gone from heads to tails, and the tables have been turned. Wolfslener is on the chase to Gayamar now. And Gayamar, along with Wolfslener, are both behind Björklund. Strategy is carrying a long way. Nicholas really doing a good job there, like we were saying, a strategic mastery at work. Proven that he can certainly do it, and he's got really good pace to back it up as well. That pace is matching the strategy that's come out there. There's going to be Iro, unfortunately, losing a lot of time coming out of the bus stop. I think similarly to Lenatus, who just passed him on the grass there. He lost the rear end coming out of the bus stop chicane. The two are still going to have a little bit of a squabble just as they come up through the heel. Or the toe, sorry. Let's see how the rest of the field is getting on though. So taking a bit of stock of the rest of the session thus far, leading in the gold, it's going to be Björklund, closely followed by Geomar and Wolfslander as established. Chris Wilson is going to be our leader for the silver at present. He's currently standing in 9th place overall and is trailing a whole 7 seconds to Paul Murray. Murray himself has got quite a nice lead. Lindblom currently in 13th by comparison, and then Vishrek is a heck of a distance. Let's say that. It's about 20 seconds between Murray and Vishrek here, so a solid 3rd place might be his go-to for tonight's running. Meanwhile, on the bronze side of things, in PE21 overall, it's going to be David Smith. Really good running thus far, and is going to be taking quite a sizable gap to Andy Trickett, who holds the 2nd spot. Diespekes is in 3rd position, and then Diekman is going to be about 7 seconds behind in 4th. So might still have enough to hold on to his lead to close the championship off, but we'll have to, of course, wait and see. Lindblom hot on the heels of Chris Bourne right now, so starting to make his way through, and is going to be committing to that late strategy, that longer 2nd stint with the early stop. I think he's making the best of a bad situation. Minimize the damage. Damage control is just as big a part of strategy as it is standard running. Checking up with the top. Looks like we have got a quickly brewing top 3 battle, as the session will be soon drawing into its final 15 minutes and things will be getting a little bit more tense. Now jumping their way through and out as Björklund continues to lead them. Wolfslander is going to be trying his hand. It's going to force Geomar on the defensive as they both go side by side into the bus stop. A later tap of the brake is going to keep Geomar in it, but he scrubs a ton of speed on the apex on the inside there, and Wolfslander is going to jump him with a much faster exit by comparison. Not only that, but he's going to switch the tables by about half a second, so Geomar is now running to catch up, and Wolfslander is going to be the one who leads the charge against Björklund by the 2. McNair has been silently sitting there, silent challenger, waiting in the wings. He's not got the elbows out like he tends to do. He's not run as aggressive as he has in the past, but I think that's really serving in his favour right now. It's served in his favour because he's just stayed there and held on to a strong P4. I think that's sometimes the best thing. Just keep holding the position. I think I'm coming down with something. 15 minutes in to the end. Lindblom is still chasing on the back of Bourne. Let's see if he can commit a full move into this next lap here. He's not running super aggressively, but I think that he's looking at the... Whoa, okay! Bourne with a major slide going through that first corner It was tough to tell from the camera angle if there was any contact between the two, but that looked very scary. Good catch from Bourne, and I think good sportsmanship being shown from Lindblom by holding back, not taking advantage of that slide there. Wait a second, something has happened. Something's happened big time. GMR and Wolfslander have both dropped behind Colin. What has transpired between these two? We need to see it from the cameras here. Let's take the replay. Let's take the rewind. Here's Björklund still on the defensive. See Wolfslander and GMR running together. Going through the toe here. Looks like contact. Oh, ouch. Contact between the two. Wolfslander goes into the wall and GMR holds back out of sportsmanship. Wise and honourable choice. But now that leaves them both in P3 and P4. So McNair could very well be home free if he pushes in these last 15 minutes. We could see McNair taking a win. Now that's a prospect. We see a little bit of chaos erupting at points. GMR is going to be dropping his gap a bit more. It's time to see. He's got the push and the wherewithal to go for it. Same goes for McNair. He's within 2 seconds now, but is he going to push forward? Has he got the means to push forward? The pace? Or is he going to hold back and secure the P2 that he has? Both viable strategies with different levels of risk. Lenatus is going to be heading into the pits for a second time here, as the number 4 car of Visharek has suffered a bit more damage and a bit of an incident according to our deltas. McNair has the chance to do something truly special. I'm not sure what McNair's last recorded win was. But we'll have to see exactly how he does. He's got a second place. He's got second and he's got third before. At least in this season. So let's see if he's going to be able to gain time to Björklund right now. Lindblom, meanwhile, still on the back of Chris Bourne, but he's not going for the attack. See exactly what this NSX is playing. See Lindblom, he's just tucking in behind. He's not going for any kind of aggression on this one. See, he's just sniffing out the space. He's sniffing it out, but he's not going for the attacks. Meanwhile, McNair has gained over almost a second, in fact. He's gained almost a second to Björklund, and he's actually doing quite a lot to close that gap up. We could see it happen. We could see it happen here, folks. I think Colin might be able to do it. He might be able to secure, if any sort of pundits who have the previous championships data to hand, when was the last time that Colin won? I'm looking through the data, I'm looking through the legacy data for Season 9 and going further beyond that as well, trying to find exactly when he won a race. So trying to find, say, the Season 8 championship, looking through there. Didn't get anything in Season 8. They're going as far as Season 7. Yep, Season 7. We've got Gaimar as well, chasing down, trying to retake the position from Wolfslenner. Oh, Season 7 was something, because Lindblom won every single race bar one. That was quite an insane season. Yeah, so the last time McNair won was in Season 7 with the Silvers. He got a three race win stint on the trot. That was the last time he won, and of course now he's in gold. He's turned the wick up a notch, but he is proving his worth. So let's see if he's got what it takes, if he's able to get it done tonight. This could be a major step. It's a sign that McNair has done what any of us aspire to do, which is rise your way up the ranks, fight forward, and fight to the top. He's within striking distance of Björklund now. You can see he pokes the nose to the right side. He's trying it on. He's already starting to exert a bit of pressure on Björklund. This could be it. We'll see how hard Björklund defends as well, because of course he got that on strategy, but the two drivers behind him that were going to challenge made a mistake of their own. They took themselves out of that combat. And now Björklund has got another test on his hands, a test of his defense skills. He has also got a little bit of a question mark around his resources. He did pit a bit earlier. He was on the early side of this grid in terms of pit stops. Whereas McNair, as we know, took things a lot later. So he's going to have fresher rubber on those rims. And he's going to have a potential advantage, especially towards these next couple of laps, as he's going to be going for it. He's going to be peeking to the right side. He's going to try and get the nose in through the apex. He might have a chance here. He's going to dip back just a little bit, but not before warning that he is here and he is fighting. A little bit of skip over the grass on the bus stop, but he's still within half a second. He's really trying it on here. He has a major challenge. He has a major challenge on his hands here. Castillo waiting for the perfect time to jump into the water. McNair, I think, is waiting for the perfect time to pull the trigger on the overtake. So Gaimar could be looking to do much of the same, as he's got the back foot on Wolfslenner. He did previously have a bit of an attack option, but now it looks like he's gone back to how he was pre-stint. So he's only got about 3 to 4 laps to make something happen out of this one. Otherwise, he's going to be pressed for time. I don't know if he's going to have enough chance to make it. Björklund is actually managing to pull out a lot of time now. So it looks like we might not see it. So the great sabotage of each other Wolfslander and Gayamar, unfortunately, they had such a prime opportunity. They had such a prime opportunity to go for the win here. And especially in the case of Gayamar, where this matters for his championship, he has the perfect chance to jump on Lindblom's misfortune. But it looks like, in this case, Wolfslander was his Judas. The sabotage, not intentional, but certainly felt. And it looks like McNair is... Oh no, he's sliding his way through tow. He's losing a ton of time. He's losing a ton of time there. He's dropped back out within 2 seconds. He can't keep doing this. It's not gonna work for him. It's just not gonna work. He's pushing the car way too hard. I think the pressure certainly got to him. He saw that he might have a chance. He might have seen it written in the stars or something, but now he's tempting fate. He's not considering the car has its limits. And yeah, you can see he's sliding through these corners. He's scrubbing speed. He's going to generate extra tire temps. It's generating a lot of excess heat when he scrubs that speed, and that is going to hamper his grip levels even more. But it looks like there's been a slight off for Wolfslander, and in that lies opportunity for Frederick. They two go side by side all the way up through the S's. And the two of them are going to be sweeping their way through to the bus stop. There's going to be a drag race. Who's going to jump on those brakes first? Who's going to be more committed slightly later on the brakes? Gayamar jumps through the apex. He jumps over the curbs. He's just going to keep it together. No skipping over the rear. But Wolfslander's not done yet. A contact! Major contact between the two. And just like that, the fight has been equalised once again. Although, curiously, there was a little bit of pushing of each other. Looks like Wolfslander has conceded the position, but it's going to be a hair's breadth between the two. A hair's breadth is the name of the game, but Wolfslander is not done fighting yet. They've got 2 more laps in the tank here. Yeah, looks like Björklund might be home free as McNair has lost a lot of time just as quickly as he gained it. I think it's just, as mentioned, overdriving the car. Wolfslander's still going to be on the fight, even with that small hiccup. Looks like Paul Murray is getting overtaken this time by Lindblom. So Lindblom's going to get himself up into P11 and an okay recovery, I've got to say. Gayamar is going to be the one profiting off of this massively. 3rd to 11th is 21 points difference. That is going to be enough to potentially slingshot Gayamar ahead of Lindblom, pending points round drop. So pending the drop round, this could be what swings it in Gayamar's favour into the final round. We'll have to check in with what championship runs are dropped. That could certainly make things interesting in the gold side of the championship heading into the final rounds. That's going to be a big one here. Dismukes being ahead of Diekman as well, although not by much, is going to be something that makes things a little bit more interesting. But he's just got through in the bus stop there. He has just made it through. Looks like John Mitchell's had an issue. He's spun the car around in the final corner. He bumps into that inside wall. And he's limping it back onto the track, trying to get it up to racing speed as soon as possible. Gayamar's already peeled out almost a second of gap, but it's fluctuating hard. As we will be heading on to the final lap of the race. You can see Björklund, leader of the race. Is going to be holding it by just over 2 seconds. See what Wolfslander has anything planned. Is there going to be anything left here? Oh no, so Wolfslander jumps onto the grass. He's really going to be pushing the boundaries here. He is very much close to the wire here. It's close to the wire for those two, so they're going to be having a last-minute joust. But at the end of it all, there is one driver who has stood tall, and with a valiant effort behind, 2 seconds later, it's going to be Björklund coming up to the line to finish the round here. Excellent driving from everyone, but in particular Björklund with that strategic switcheroo. He's going to come across the line. He's going to take top honours in the penultimate round of the championship. Congratulations, Nicholas. You are our winner of round 9. McNair coming in with a strong second as well. Not enough to get into the top spaces. He just overdrove the car towards the end there, but still a great result. Gayamar is going to get that 3rd position, and then it's 4th, along with 5th going to Wolfslander and Holmberg. Dave Marsh coming up to the line, closely followed by Patrick Larson and Damien Reed, who are fighting tooth and nail for those last positions, as they all squabble in and muck in for those last spots. You can see the rest of the field has come across the line as well. So we have David Smith taking the win for the bronze in a great twist here. Amazing work. He kept it quiet, but he just kept his head down. He kept driving, and I have to say, immaculate performance. Trickett, much of the same. Diekman is going to secure 3rd in the end. So if my maths serves, that is going to be what puts him in a position where he has locked in this championship for himself. Diekman can provisionally, pending penalties, pending final drop rounds, he can provisionally potentially call himself the bronze champion with a round to go. We'll have to, of course, confirm that in the final round, so jump onto the broadcast for that one. But last cars now making their way across the field. Here's Zimmer, closely followed by Alex North and then Peter Smith to finish. But what a show. What a show here. Chris Wilson is going to take the win for the Silvers, and then it's Paul Murray alongside Radislav Visharek in 3rd position. Last cars come through, and that is, ladies and gentlemen, that is time. Unfortunately, we didn't get to see everyone today. We said goodbye to Lenatus, Homer, and Niesbet. Not surprising, given that Homer had 3 stops, Lenatus had a bit of a rough round, and Niesbet much of the same early exit there. But great results and great driving from everyone. Certainly impressed with how this field has performed, and with that, there is only one place left to go. The final round of the season is upon us, ladies and gentlemen, and that final round is none other than Silverstone. We bring it full circle, we bring it back to the United Kingdom. It's a piece of motorsport history and nothing less than one of the best places that we could end the 10th season on the 10th round, on the 10th month no less. 7th of October, 1 week from now, final race. Gonna be there, folks. You're gonna want to be there because this is gonna be electric. It's the gold championship on the line, it's the silver championship on the line, and the bronze will hopefully see a champion emerge, as well as the best of the rest fight, 2nd, 3rd, et al. But that's going to be all for next time, folks. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. My name's Ben Sapsford, I've been your guide, and I'll see you next week for the final round over in Silverstone. Take care, and goodbye.